everybody, Gina DeLuca here. All right, I'm trying out a new color today. Actually, I have two new paints that I am trying. I have Amsterdam in Indigo. This is going to be my background slash base coat color. That is this color here. This is pure indigo. This color is the Amsterdam Pearl Blue. This is kind of an interference type paint. We'll see if it does anything. This color is half DecoArt Americana Decor Satin Enamels and half indigo. And this color is half satin enamel in pure white with some titanium white from Liquitex Basics, and there is a bit of the indigo drizzled in, so it's not a pure white. It will look white next to the blues on the painting, but if you hang it on a white wall, it will not appear pure white. That is what gives that very cool glowing effect that I get with my boulder cells. We'll see if I get boulder cells. I have not used this particular paint before, this color. Some colors just don't work in a straight pour. Prussian blue, in every brand that I've tried, I have not been able to get cells. So we'll see if this works. It is a beautiful blue. Great for stormy colors. This color here is perfect for a stormy sky. So we're going to see how that works. The paints have been mixed 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol, and then that is thinned with some water until I get the consistency that I am looking for, which is, maybe I'll use this lighter color. Sometimes it's easier to see when it's light. This is about a 2 on my consistency scale. This is making a mound, but it disappears pretty quickly, and it's making a nice thin even stream off of my stick. If it is getting thin and then thick and thin again, that means your consistency is inconsistent and you need to mix some more. I do want to take a moment to let you know I do have an auction coming up on May 17th, Friday, May 17th at 7 p.m. right here on YouTube. This is one of the 30 pieces that will be in the auction. This one is titled Floral Portal. It's a 14 by 14. I have a lot of that size, and of course some bigger ones as well. So stay tuned for some more examples of the paintings that will be in there, and I'll also be showing them on my Facebook page, The Glassy Knoll. I'll be posting video and pictures of the paintings that will be in the auction. Again, that's on May 17th at 7 p.m. right here on the YouTube. Before we get started, have you seen the Fluid Art inspiration cards? If you have, you can fast forward about a minute. But if you have not, what we have are 52 cards. There are 42 technique cards. Each technique card has an associated video here on YouTube that gives you all of the information that you need, the exact paint, brand, color, consistency, the recipe, of course, the technique, all of the things that I can't fit onto a card. This is the picture of the painting in that video. This box contains a tip for this particular technique. And here at the bottom, you have the color palette that was used in this painting. There are also 8 bonus color palette cards. Each one has 5 color palettes. You can use some of the colors, use all of the colors, mix and match the bonus color palette cards with the technique cards, and you have more combinations than you could ever paint in a lifetime. These are available at my website, ginadeluca.net, and also at amazon.com. The first thing I'm going to do is put some paint in my cup. I want to make sure I have enough for my pour. I put about 2 ounces in that cup. This is a 14-inch canvas. You'll notice I've already covered my sides. The reason that I do that, I am going to reserve some paint in this cup. You will see why. So you'll notice that my sides are already covered. The reason that I do that, I mix my paints pretty thin, and I am using Floetrol. That combination does not give you the best coverage on the sides. Sometimes it will let the canvas show through and then your sides look unfinished. So, in order to avoid having to go back later and touch up the sides, which can be a challenge if I have a custom blended color going on, which I often do, it is just easier to cover it up ahead of time. It only takes 2 minutes. That could save you a whole lot of time post-pour touch-ups. The reason that we lay down a base coat is because we want our paints to slide around evenly. Something has to stick to the canvas first. If it is not your base coat, it is going to be your poured paint, and the edges of your puddle are going to stick to the canvas, and the center of the puddle is going to roll over your edges. Sometimes the coolest stuff that happens on the edges, and this just allows you to keep that if you so choose. Going to pop any bubbles. One of the reasons that I use a color that is in my pour is because there are bubbles in the base coat, and if I don't pop them all before I pour, they will come up later on through my pour. If I weren't using any white in my painting and I have a white base coat, I will wind up with some white cells that kind of stand out like, what are they doing there? So use a color that is in your pour, and then you eliminate that as a problem. Okay, so now I'm going to put some paint in a cup. Be sure to check your consistency before pouring. The sauce may thicken upon standing, as this one has a bit. I checked the consistencies of these paints right before I started this video, and sometimes they just thicken up. That is just what happens. So this is the pearl paint, and I am going to pour this somewhat gently. And then the other paints, my cell makers, I will pour them from up high, allowing them to sink and churn. If I am using a dark background, I will put the lightest color in my cup last. Again, this thickened up a bit. The reason that I do that is because whatever paint I put in last, a bit of that seems to end up at the very bottom of the cup. So that is going to come out last. That is going to give me the contrast that I'm looking for so that I get that glowing effect, pouring from up high, allowing it to sink and churn. If you are uncomfortable with this action, pouring from up high, you can practice with just water in your sink to get used to the motion of it. I used a 10 bar, so I am used to it already. Again, giving it a stir just to make sure all is well. Pouring from up high. And now I'm going to take some of my paint that is left over drizzle this over the top. There is a bit left in the cup that I will use for the corners if I need it. Now I will say this, I would normally be seeing some cell action popping to the top, and I'm not seeing that right now. So that could be an indicator that this is not going to be a good cell making endeavor. This blue, this indigo may not be a good cell maker. Or, well, actually it's the DecoArt paints that are the cell makers. The background / base coat color is what it reacts to. I'm going to pour rather quickly and spin slowly. I want this to be a spiral. If I spin it quickly, I will just have a ring pour. And this is catching on the paper. That is going to be a nightmare. Jeez. Some days just be like this. I am not seeing a lot of cell action. I'm not hopeful for this piece. This is a fresh jar of DecoArt, so that should not be the issue. Okay. All right, let's give this a torch. We shall see what happens. So, what typically happens, matte paints, which is what the DecoArt paints are. Matte paints are hydrophobic. And if it is used with a glossy paint, you will get cells. These little bubbles come up and it pushes the background color away. I'm not seeing a lot of that happening. This is exactly what happens when I use Prussian blue. Makes for a beautiful galaxy, but does not make for beautiful boulder cells, which I don't think I am going to get any. I can often tell just by what's going on in the cup what's going to happen on the canvas, and as predicted by what I saw in my cup, this is not going to be cell-tastic. These cells are not growing, so there's really no point in me letting this sit for these cells to develop so I can stretch them out and create boulder cells. I am just going to give this a spin. Well, that's what's happening. Okay, just going to give it a spin. Okay, I am going to zhuzh up my corners a bit with a bit more juice here. This will help it to spin off more evenly. This is why I like to reserve some of this, if possible. And I will also double check these sides to make sure that the sides are evenly covered. That can keep it from sliding off evenly. Just give it a little love. Okay, I see this corner needs a little extra love, so I'm going to shimmy my canvas in that direction just a wee bit. Think of it like the little merry-go-round on the playground. If you're in the center, you aren't getting pulled very much, but if you are on the end, you are getting pulled. You might get launched into the stratosphere. So, if you need one side to have a little more stretch, just push your canvas in that direction and you will get said stretch. Okay, spin this out a bit more. My spiral is a bit off center, so I'm just going to tilt that a bit to where I want it. Don't know what will become of this painting. Will I scrape it? Probably not. I want to see how those interference paints dry, if they're even visible at all. I have several like this with the Prussian blue that I guess I'm probably going to just paint a TARDIS on because I don't know what else to do with them. I can paint a little spaceman, or perhaps David Bowie. Just going to zhuzh up that corner a wee bit. Okay, well, I am not anticipating any kind of changes here. I think this is just what it's going to do. Perhaps there will be a little pearl paint action, but not really thinking it's going to do that much. I see a ton of bubbles. If I pop them, I'm going to get a ton of stars. That's what they're going to look like. They're not going to look like cells. They will look like stars. Okay, well, I'm going to let this sit, and I'll bring you in for a close-up. Back in a few. Okay, here it is. It has not changed. Was not expecting it to. Some colors just don't work well as the backgrounds for a straight pour. Prussian blue being one, and apparently Amsterdam Indigo being another. So I test the paints so you don't have to. If you try for a straight pour and you've had luck in the past and it doesn't turn out and you keep trying with that color, it might just be that color that's not working for you. It's either that your satin enamels have gotten old or that your background color is not a suitable background color for a straight pour. It just does not have the reaction, which is strange because when it dries, let's see, let me zoom in there. You can see that that blue is indeed glossy. So theoretically, it should work, but it does not. So there it is. I do the testing, so you don't have to. I will probably paint something on this, I guess, unless somebody falls in love with this as it is. I will embellish this in some way, shape, or form. I hope that you learned something here. Do like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. If you are subscribed and not receiving notifications, make sure you click that bell. You have to click the bell and select notify me of all. YouTube changed something after I had 100,000 subscribers, and now I'm having a hard time breaking 1,000 views when I used to easily get 10,000. So, please click that bell. Come back a week from today, Friday, May 17th, 7 p.m. I will be having an art auction. Do come and check that out. Hi, Tucker. His name is Tucker now, not Darwin. He didn't answer to Darwin. He answers to Tucker, so now he's Tucker. Named after the kicker for the Baltimore Ravens. What else is there? Check out the description box below for links to my PayPal tip jar. If you feel so inclined, I am drowning in vet bills, so it's greatly appreciated. Not expect it, but very much appreciate it. Or come back for the auction. Also in the description box, you will find the link to my affiliates and the coupon codes. DecoArt being one of the affiliates, and also Fluid Art Company, where I got many of the products used in this painting. You will also find in the description box the link to my Facebook group, Go Make Some Art. Join us there. Post your masterpieces, ask your questions, get some inspiration. A good time is had by most. It is the internet after all. And you will also find the link to my website, GinaDeLuca.net, where you can find my art and music and fluid art inspiration cards for sale. I think that's everything. All right, that's it for me for today. I am going to go varnish my last 5 paintings for the auction now. I hope y'all have a beautiful day. Now go make some art.